Hey everybody, it's Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell to share with you today. Today we're going to stamp with Fabulous Flamingo. I'm doing a Stamp Together event for some homeschool families in Connecticut. So lots of teenagers, so we decided to do some fun critter cards. And so we're going to use the pink flamingo because that's just fun and it's going to be summertime, so why not do something bright? So I'm going to put this card together for you today. It's pretty simple, but we are going to have some two-step stamping and we're going to use the Stamparatus to help us with the placement of our flamingo parts. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So the PDF tutorial and photos will be on next week's Show and Tell news. You all know that by now. So all you got to do is subscribe below if you haven't already. And all the measurements that I'm using and the different colors I'm using will be there. So if I don't state something specifically, don't worry about it. Just subscribe to the newsletter and you will get the information you need. Okay, so I have set up on my Stamparatus my flamingo body on one side and I've got my legs on the other. I've got my detailed body stamp up here and my full one there. And we're going to stamp on Whisper White. So I didn't set this one up specifically to stamp right in the corner. I wanted to give it a little leeway on that. So when you place your cardstock in, unless you set your setup to be right in the corner, you just want to kind of pull it over and say, is that where I want my image to be? And I'm good with that. So I'm just going to put my two magnets down to hold my paper in place. Remember, don't get those magnets touching to each other, otherwise they could break. You can buy replacement ones, but they are not under warranty, so if they break, you got to buy new ones. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using Flirty Flamingo, right? You have to use Flirty Flamingo when you're stamping a flamingo. That just seems like the natural thing. So we've got Flirty Flamingo, and then I'm using the new Petal Pink ink for my full body image here. And so I'm just going to slide that back. Looks like I've got a little bit of lint on my stamp pad, so let me pull that off real quick. Okay, so I'm going to start by stamping this full body flamingo, and I'm just going to gently tap my ink onto my stamp, and then I'm going to flip that over and press down to get my image to transfer. Remember, with the Stamparatus, if you don't get enough ink where you want it, you can just flip it back over again because your paper didn't move, your stamp didn't move. You can just give it another application of the ink. Okay, so there's that one. Now I'm going to flip this arm over. I pull it out and I turn it over. And as you can see, I've got my legs set up on this side. Now I found that if I tried to ink my eggs with my big stamp pad, I tended to get ink in the middle. I'll show you one I did. See here? I have that over splush of ink. So I'm going to try it with the marker. I'm just going to marker up my image with my paintbrush tip. So I'm just painting the stamp image. There we go. Now sometimes when I marker my stamps I then huff it, but we just markered it. I'm not waiting in between, so I think we're going to be good to go. So I'm just flipping that down. I'm going to give that a press. And let's see. That's good. Okay, I'm going to do Flirty Flamingo with this detailed body up here. This one I am going to use the stamp pad because it's a nice big stamp and that would take me quite a while to ink with my marker. So I'm just going to give that a couple of taps. And we're going to pull that down, and that's going to go right over the body to give us some detail. Let's see how that did. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to pull this arm out and flip it over. Okay, and I've got the body of the flamingo. Now, if you want to leave yours with some of that white in there, you certainly can do that. But I am going to fill mine in. So now I'm going to take my powder pink, or no, petal pink, and ink up my flamingo stamp. There we go. And I'm going to bring that down and give that a press, and that's going to finish filling in that white space on my stamp. Let's see how it did. Okay, I've got a little more white space, and my paper bulged there, so I'm just going to flatten that out. I'm just going to flip it over again and apply a little more pressure. Okay, good to go. So there's our flamingo. 2 pinks with the Stamparatus. It does take a little time to set up your images where you want them. I start by putting down one image, placing it on the cardstock where I want and sticking it to the arm, and then I layer the next pieces on as I go. So it takes a little practice, but I do find that with some of these 2-step stamps, and especially with the background stamps, that I'm liking the Stamparatus very, very much. Okay, so now we have our flamingo. I'm going to now take it and place it over the top of my card front, which is also Whisper White. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Lemon Lime Twist, and I've got the palm from the tree, and I've got the grass for the water, and I'm going to do both of those with the Lemon Lime Twist. So let's go ahead and stamp the grass in for a second, because that one's easy. So I'm just going to put a couple of these in, and they can overlap. All right, you want an active scene, so there's that. Now, you might be saying, why does she have that on the front of her card? Because we are going to stamp these palms now around the edges, and when we get to the top, actually we'll start at the top. When we get to the top, I want them to overlap onto my scene, and then when I mount it up, it'll break it up a little bit, but they'll all be in alignment and they'll all merge very nicely. So let's go ahead and flip this around. So I'm going to end up centering my piece here, and if you need to tack it down with a little adhesive, you go right ahead and do that. But I'm going to stamp it just by holding it. So I'm going to stamp once, and then I'm going to stamp off, so I get 2 kind of variated colors on my palms. So here's one, and then I'm just going to stamp again. See how it's lighter? And then I'm just going to do it again. I'm just going to go right around my card. Okay, now I'm going to take that off. Now I'm going to go back and stamp this a little bit more, because I want a little more color in there behind that corner, but it's going to feed into this piece here. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and stamp off all the way around, just to kind of give it a fun frame, like we were someplace tropical and warm. I know some of you probably are tropical and warm, but we happen to be having a cold spell here in the northeast of the US, so stamping something fun is the best I can do at the moment. Alright, so I want a little more there. Let's see. So this is going to get mounted on there, and that's going to go on the front of my card. And when we put all that down, then we've got that nice stamped bright lime green color behind it. So I'm going to call that good for now. Alright, before we put this down, we're also going to stamp in some water. Now I'm going to use Coastal Cabana. It's a returning color to our color selection. It used to be in color. It went away and now it's back, and I'm so excited because I really like it. So let's go ahead and stamp some water. Now again, I'm stamping right over my image of the legs and the grass here in the water, because it's an active scene that we're stamping. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. But then I'm also going to add my sentiment. And I decided Tickled Pink for You could really be used for any occasion. Congratulations, birthday, new job. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I'm using my Memento ink, and I'm just going to put this here in the bottom. And there we go. Okay, so now we're just going to layer this up with some snail adhesive. So I'm just going to layer this onto my Flirty Flamingo cardstock. Flip it over to give that a good rub down. Now on the first one I showed you, I just went ahead and mounted that on there. For the group that I'm doing, I have some of this retired Flirty Flamingo ribbon, and what I thought I would do was take enough to tie it around underneath and then put a bow on it. So that's going to be enough to wrap it, and then I usually do double that if I'm going to tie a bow. So let's go ahead and cut off a nice lengthy piece of this ribbon. Now normally I wouldn't use a retired product in my show and tells because you can't order it. at least not directly from a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. However, being right after retirement season, you are likely to find it on some of your blogs and sites where we sell our retired goodies as we start to clean out our craft rooms. And so you might be able to get your hands on some of that. Or you might have other Flirty Flamingo ribbon or some other ribbon you want to use. But I'm going to go ahead and use the Flirty Flamingo ribbon that I had in my stash. So I'm just going to put a strip of snail across here and tack that down. Now you see I kind of broke it in half around the card there. Okay, so there's that. Now I am going to go ahead and put my flamingo down on top. So that just gets centered like usual. Tack that down. So when I bring my card around, now I always tie my bows upside down. When I bring it around, I can tie a knot and then put in a bunny ear bow. So everyone ties their bows differently. I find that I like to make 2 loops and then crisscross them to make a bow. It tends to lie nicely for me, and I can manipulate it after I tie it. So see that fun striped bow we can put on the card? So that's what I'm going to do with the group that I'm stamping with. But be that set aside, see the difference? Now I also stamped the inside of my card. I did some more of the grass and the water and brought some palms in around the edges, just to give your inside of your card a little bit of life as well. This card is full of life. And then don't forget, when we're going to stamp our envelope, because if you're going to stamp a card, you're going to go ahead and stamp that envelope. Don't send a naked one. And so I'm going to repeat that same pattern of the palms up here in the corner. Fill that in a little bit. I missed a bit. And you know what? If you really wanted to have fun with it, you could put a little water down here in the corner and they'll be saying, what am I getting in the mail? But it would be fun all the same. Okay, so whichever way you decide to put it together and encase it is totally up to you, but I hope you enjoyed the show and tell today, and I think my group of students that I'm going to be stamping with will really enjoy it as well. Okay, everybody, thumbs up, comments below. Please let me know you enjoy what I'm doing, and if you need to order anything, orders are always appreciated at my online store, or contact me if you need help with a product. I'm happy to help you. So that's it for today. Do some happy stamping and have a wonderful afternoon. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.